The gameplay of Final Fantasy XV is a far cry from the games that built its legacy. For these reasons, a lot of the mechanics can seem rather vague and questionable. So here is a litany of things that might help your journey through EOS. Final Fantasy XV for some reason features a stamina bar that governs sprint. The game seems satisfied with hiding this feature in the menus and just allowing the player to ruminate as to why he can or cannot run at times. Turn this on. If you hold sprint until the green bar reaches the S and release, you will be rewarded with a slight speed boost and complete replenishment to the bar. Use this to chain an endless run and traverse the world much quicker. Buy potions! Potions are one of the single most powerful tools at your disposal in Final Fantasy XV. Phoenix Downs are handy, but expensive. I would recommend only carrying an emergency amount until you fix your lacking gil situation. Why potions, you ask? Well, they're cheap, and for the most they will save you from 99% of danger situations. Due to the sporadic nature of the NPC revives, potions allow you to never run that gambit and get back into the action instantly. Always hold evade. Combat can be very chaotic and the camera often suffers in keeping up with all the spectacle. So by holding the defensive button you can guarantee that you will avoid hits you don't see and react in the quickest amount of time you can. This may be awkward depending on your control scheme, but you can even attack while holding evade, which will allow for your character to evade the exact frame they recover from their own attack. This technique has a downside, as Noctis walks around like an Alan Wake promotional trailer and his movement speed is impeded. To get around this, you can spam jump or roll. You will still evade attacks and you will be able to move much more freely and be more effective in battle while doing so. Blindsides are very strong. Blindsides add bonus damage to your attack for hitting an enemy from behind. If you take the previous tip and combine it with the backstab mechanic in this game, you can get great results. The real key here is the link attacks. If one of your allies is close enough when you activate a blindside, they will join you on the attack, dealing increased damage, and you're invincible for the entire animation. You can even wear specific equipment to make links more likely at greater ranges, so make sure you keep your eyes out for those. But by using linked blindsides and the occasional dose of poison, your party can kill enemies 25 to 30 levels higher than you, and deal damage numbers your weapon and stats would not seem capable of at first glance. Spend AP wisely. AP is a very important commodity, and the game gives you a surprising allotment of freedom to choose the direction your characters grow. In the beginning, this resource will be fleeting, so I recommend you pick up a few cheap passive AP bonuses. You will spend a lot of your time in Final Fantasy XV running to places, riding chocobos, not driving the car, resting at camps, and partaking in overworld distractions. So purchase the nodes that allow you to bank AP for simply doing things you will already be doing. Ignace is a master of support. If you give him the Analyze ability, Ignace will scan your opponents with Libra and give you an idea of the enemy's weaknesses, HP values, and the like. While not essential, this opening route can help you get an immediate advantage on your foe. Additionally, if you purchase Ignace's Battle Technique Rebound, at the cost of 2 bars you can heal your entire party in a pinch. Once again, this is by no means essential if you're going to be whoring potions like I suggest, but it can be a great addition to your party's survivability and well worth the points. Dawnbreaker. Gladio has a battle tech called a Dawnbreaker. This allows for 2 direct hits that deal a massive amount of damage and can actually hit more than one enemy if they are close enough in proximity. This move can single-handedly carry you through most of the main game, and a lot of the post-game as well. Get a beast vulnerable and then drop the hammer and you will see numbers like the kinds you just cannot do outside of other attacks. Rest intelligently. Both eating food and resting heal your party. One of these methods banks experience with a greater multiplier, whereas the other augments your team, still banking the experience but giving them passives. Learning to combine these 2 features effectively is key to dominating in Final Fantasy XV. Before tough battles, eat for performance boosts. Before a grinding session, eat for experience. Always make sure you only rest at inns with the best experience multiplier. Do not waste your hard-earned time and experience by resting at a camp that gives you nothing. Hunts. Hunting is the lifeblood of Final Fantasy XV. Oftentimes tedious and banal in design, the bounties highlight the draconian nature of Final Fantasy XV's system, and make the simple act of completing quests and cashing them in a chore. The only plus to come from this is the creative use of warping to alleviate the shittiness of just how poorly this has been designed. And how you do this is actually quite simple. Drive your car to the place where the hunts are located, and then ride your chocobo to the mark. Once you fell the beast, hit the map button and walk back to your car. This will cut out the middleman and alleviate a lot of the frustration regarding these mechanics. Just make sure that you bring a handheld or a book for the copious amounts of loading that you'll have to suffer through with all the warping. Fleeing. Reviving in Final Fantasy XV is a lucrative business, but instead of using those hard-earned resources, you can flee. Now, there is an addendum to this. When you run away from battle, you have to breach the circle of the encounter, and when you do this, it will revive all of your team members to a set amount of HP. However, it will also give the enemy you are fighting a little bit of a bump too. But if you're quick enough to get back into battle by quickly warping back towards the enemy, they will not be able to acquire enough life to be as threatening as they would be if you left them alone. By using this strategy, you can exploit revives for free while not giving your enemy too much of an advantage, and gradually chip away at almost everything in the game. As a side note, however, this will not work on the Adamantoise. It is one of the only fights in the game where there is a fail state for fleeing battle, so be very careful in that boring encounter.